Hi, this is Grace. And then in this video, I'm going to talk about bullying, being bullied when you're a child and onward. And I'm going to use myself as an example. And, you know, some people I know that were bullied as children. And, you know, how it feels when you get older. You know, that I have heard us say. I don't know what it is for everybody. This is not about everybody. It's just about the people, me and some of the people I knew. But when I was a child, by the time I was in kindergarten, I'd say kindergarten, I knew that there was something different about me. Actually what it was is I was always taller, even starting that young. I was taller and stronger too, taller and stronger. Now I wasn't put back a year or anything like that, but yeah, you know, in kindergarten I knew that. I knew there was a difference between me and the other ones, the other girls in school. Then, you know, not long after that, I guess maybe, I don't know what grade it would have started in. It had started in. But I was bullied because I was always taller, even, you know, taller than the guys until, you know, they hit puberty, and then that was a little bit different. But I was always the big girl, is what they called it back then. I was the big girl. And like I said, I was also more muscular. It wasn't until, I'm going to jump ahead here, it wasn't until I was 37 years old that I found out that I have an adrenal disorder. And how it's all connected to that, I don't know. But yeah, you know, I grew faster and everything. And developed earlier. And it wasn't put back, like I said. But yeah, you know, being picked on about my size. And, you know, even when I wasn't, you know, even since I've been an adult, it still happens, because even though, you know, once you get to a certain age, you start, you know, as an older adult, you start getting a little shorter, you start shrinking a little bit, you know? And I have a few inches, and I've been told that's pretty normal. And other women I know, they do the same, you know, you get shorter. Still, I go into stores, I've been noticing it a lot more lately again, standing in line at a store, and I tower over, still, men and women. Most men and women in the store, I tower over them, okay, taller than them. And it is, you know, I can see that it, you know, to some people it's different now. As an adult, you know, at my age, I don't really see too much of people picking on me, you know, like I was bullied like I was a kid. But it did happen until, I'd say, recently more, that I would be bullied, you know, picked on and made fun of, whatever, because I'm tall. You know, I call myself the gentle giant, you know. There's a car on the road stuck. Yeah, better check that out. Okay. So for me, you know, when I was in school, all those grades, whenever it started, you know, it just wasn't a pleasant thing to do, was to go to school. Now, I was in the, you know, honors, AP, all that, but going to school, by the time I was in high school, I hated it. I hated going to school. I barely graduated because my last year, I just kept skipping. I just skipped school. I did not want to go at all. I had anxiety really bad, panic attacks really bad. And I can make all kinds of videos about all that. I have some videos. But as I got older, and I've mentioned this before, once I got on medication for diabetes when I was 30, I can't even remember, 33, no wait, I was 35 when I finally got on the right one. The right medication. I was on the wrong one the first time. That really, I stopped having so much panic attacks. Now I have a problem with height. I think that's really one of the only things that I have a problem with that causes me a panic attack is height. You know, like if I'm way up high on a building or something like that, or I see people, you know, see videos that kind of makes me go, ooh, like a Grand Canyon. You know, that's pretty much it. Or in an elevator. I was stuck in way too many elevators in my lifetime, seriously. Runaway elevators that kept going up and down and stuff like that. It started when I was a kid. But, yeah, I had a lot of, you know, anxiety because, and I know what it is, like business meetings and, business meetings or any kind of gathering, huge gathering, I would feel that somebody was going to pick on me because that was what my whole life was as a child, all the way through high school, that they were, somebody was going to make fun of me, like a daily thing, talking bad about me. Oh, look at her, she's so, she's this, she's so that, she's, and they did that, and I've done a video about this, that there was no such thing as, no tolerance for bullying in school. They bullied, and nothing was, I never heard the word bully until many years after school, after I graduated high school. So I would say that was, that was a big part of my anxiety. And then I was a career student, both undergraduate and graduate school and college. I worked on everything from, I earned my bachelor's and a double major, and then my master's, and I had enough to have 3 masters or 4. Seriously, I only did the degree plan and got one, earned one. And then I also worked on a PhD in counseling and development of psychology, and then I got burned out and didn't finish it. But yeah, even then, I, felt the same. I think it was more, I'll say subconscious. I'll say it was deep down inside. I won't say unconscious, but yeah, that I felt I would be bullied. I would be bullied, but even in, that level. And yes, it had happened. I think one of the worst things that I can remember along that line, along this line, was when the professor in one of my classes wouldn't acknowledge my answers, but the guy sitting next to me would say the same thing that I did, and he did not acknowledge that guy. And hear me, woman, loud enough for him to hear me, no, he wouldn't acknowledge my answer, and the guy would just steal my answer and say it again. The professor say, yeah, tell him he's right, me no. Yeah, that was one of the things. And then I did attend a woman's university. I attended a lot because I moved around a lot, and didn't feel that so much. And really, seriously, didn't feel it. But I did experience test anxiety. I had to take my tests, my exams, in a separate room. They have a learning center. I had to take my tests in there because I would have anxiety during tests, exams. But overall, yeah, like if you're sitting in a classroom, the test was, sitting in a classroom, it was too quiet. And I was afraid with all my allergies, I'd cough or something like that, and yeah. And that was how it was for me. And I know that a big part of it, not all of it, I'm sure it's probably not all of it, that would cause me to have panic. I was actually diagnosed with panic disorder when I can't remember how old I was, probably, goodness, maybe 30 something. But anyway, that was how it was for me. Now, other people I know, it developed, being picked on so much in school, really, developed. One person, I didn't even know that she had been picked on so much. Okay, now the bad thing is she was, one of my best friends, I'd say. But I did not know that she was being picked on by the bullies, the same bullies that were picking on me, maybe other ones. I just never knew. And I didn't know until recently, after all these years, she finally said something to me about it, about how bad it made her whole life. Well, yeah, I could see that something wasn't right, but I never knew that was what it was. That the lifetime of what it did to her to have been bullied, it had really negative effects on her all around. And I'll just leave it right there with that. And another one, it was more of a, I should just say, the long-term effects are horrible to the people that I know. Their life, what becomes their lives, their life chances, really, of making something of themselves, because there's that constant, feeling of somebody's going to cut you down, somebody's going to, embarrass you and humiliate you and make fun of you, mock you, all these things that these people these days, they just call them narcissistic types, or narcissists, bullies, that what it does to your self-esteem, I see self-confidence is a little bit different. I see that that's something in you. It's already in you, because you've learned what you need to learn and you've done what you need to do for whatever it is. It's in you, you know. But the self-esteem, the fear, you know, the social phobia, the avoidant personality disorder kind of things, all of this, you know, takes away from your life. It does. And I think now, you know, I don't have those problems, like I said, so much. I did have a panic attack last year, and oh my goodness, I was walking across a bridge, so like I said, heights. But while I was walking back over it, the way over, I wasn't even thinking about that. I wasn't thinking about panic attacks or anything the whole time. Coming back, boom, as soon as I hit that bridge, my foot hit the bridge to go across it, you know, 1 foot, poof. But the real thing, like I'm trying to really talk about, is the way it attacks the person and makes them, you know, I'm not going to blame them. I'm not going to blame the victim of these monsters, you know, that it's our fault that we do this, it's our fault that we do that. Yeah, sure, we can work on ourselves, but to blame us? No. You know, and it does. It puts a lifetime of, you know, sorrow. Like the one woman I know, she's so sorrowful. There's sorrow, just hurt and pain, and you know, these things. It's hard for her to get over, but she still sees it to this day. She's, you know, still sees the same kinds of things to this day. You know, I have been thinking about, yeah, they teach kids in schools, and they have for years now. I don't know how many years, but I'd say at least, goodness, 15 or so. You know, there's no tolerance for bullying. But do they really teach why? Or can they even teach why? Other than, you know, just the skim across the top and say, you know, there's no bullying. You know, and you can't bully anybody because of this, and that. But do they really get into explaining why you can't bully? Dig deeper. Have the kids learn more, understanding why. Age appropriate, starting, you know, I did a video on this, but starting in preschool, and even before then if possible. You know, whatever is age appropriate, whatever, you know, the parents understand that this is what you're going to do along this line. But yeah, because it's a bad thing. Now, I know that it has affected my life seriously. It's more and more since I got on that medication for diabetes 20 years ago. It was 20 years ago, actually, yeah. Really, my life changed a lot after that. But before then, just, oh my goodness. But still, at that age, you know, so much of my life had already been, you know, not normal. It wasn't normal. I've always said I had a non-traditional life, but it wasn't because I didn't, it wasn't my fault. I'm not going to blame this victim. You know, because of these monsters, this type, the bully, the narcissist, the histrionic, the cluster B with an attitude problem, and, you know, just abusive people, and people who won't accept differences. They're intolerant. They think that they are the only ones and anybody like them, but as long as the people that like them follow them, you know, it's awful. Anyway, I think I'll wrap this video up for now. I need to go in the store and get some bananas. Anyway, you want to go with me? Okay. I think that's enough. If you want to subscribe, click the circle. If you want to watch another video, click one of the rectangles. Like, subscribe, comment, and share if you would. And I'll talk to you on another video. Bye.